Shraga Five, can you hear me?
Everybody was there.
He's online. I want to make sure he can. Can you hear me?
Mordecai didn't was stuck the bubbles.
Yeah,
We're going to Mark.
Tomorrow, figure out where we'll be. Between now and tomorrow. Last time we stayed in the show, so we may wind up doing that. They need this room for tomorrow and for Wednesday, and maybe even Thursday. Hopefully not. Where are we going? We'll see. You heard of the Wandering Jew? Well, we'll be the Wandering Jew. Just a WONDER, wondering where we'll be the next day. Okay. All right. Learning sponsors. A Year of Learning, Friends of Herb Jeremiah, Svi Ben Zev, Friends of Sam Coleman, Shmuel Ben Yaakov, Friends of Gideon Lazinski, Mordechai Shlomo Ben Meir, Bella and David Adler, in memory of her father, Ayel Ben Yosef Kohen. Those who were inspired by our Rebbetzin Emerita, Sheila Shapiro, Sarah Esther Malka, but Shalom Yisachar. Gail and Leslie Kaplan, in memory of their parents, Mushka Sprinzer Bad Yosef Chaim Bechava, Hanan ben Moshe Eliezer V'chana, Pesha bat Shmuel Yitzchak Alevi V'tzipora, Isra ben Yoam Moshe Cohen V'chana. Rexford Friends of Gladys Sherman, Gutta Bud Meir, Michael Klein and Friends of Judah Klein, Yehuda Tzvi ben Chaim, Marsha Brana, memory of her husband, Rabbi Rachmiel ben Shmuel. Friends and family of Arthur Ritholtz, Mordechai Yudel ben Baruch Leib HaKohen. Friends and family of Sigi Bessler, Shalom Shraga ben Dov. Friends of Marvin Weinstein, Mordechai Ozer ben Yisrael Aharon, Sarah Alpert, in memory of her husband, Harav Tzvi Lipa ben Hillel. A Month of Learning by Rabbi Dr. Yankee and Malki Honig, in memory of his mother, Rabbanit Hensha Iter Bachem Yehuda. Anna and David Grunblatt, in memory of her mother, Roisa Bat Chaim, Jill and Perry Meltzer, in memory of her father, Yaakov ben Yosef, B. Pizer, in memory of her stepfather, Avram Michal ben Shmuel Halevi, B. Pizer, in memory of her mother, Reza Bat Shammai, Jerry and Sharon Glassman, in memory of his mother, Malka Yuz Bas Eliyahu, Henry Katz and children, in memory of his wife, Lila Leah Minsha Bat Yehuda, Mel and Haran Haller, in memory of his mother, Fega Bat Yaakov, Andrea and David Dolney, in memory of her mother on her 20th yahrzeit, Elitzina Bat Shimshon, Josh and Carol Sanborn, in memory of his father, Shmuel Aryeh ben Baruch, and his mother, Chayana Bas Aryeh Leib. A Week of Learning by Evelyn and Isaac Blachor, in memory of her mother, Pearl Rivka Bat Rab Menachem Mendel Eliezer. Dita Luxemburg, in memory of her mother, Martha Gitler, Shana Bat Yeshaya. Baruch and Dina Rabinowitz, in memory of his father, Zeb ben Chaim. Rena and Alan Mosak, in memory of her father, Meir ben Yosef. Harriet Brick and Rabbi Moshe Kurzler, in memory of David Dolney's sister, Deborah Dolney. Today being the 4th of March, Judy Jeremiah, a day of learning in memory of her father-in-law, Zeb ben Chaim, and her husband, Tzvi ben Zeb. May the Shemras have an aliyah, crank Rafia, Vati, Hashem, Letzliach, Chol B'nai Yisrael, a good Gebench Jar.
Takes a map up, and then wants very interesting stuff. But I want to remind us of two laws that we learned in the name of Rabbi Shia. And one was an argument to Rabbi Shia and Rabbi Sheshet. And we debate what they are. One law, we know the law of mother mitzvah. So if a person admits the part of a claim, so they have to pay the part they admit, and they have to swear that they don't owe the part that they denied. That's what we learned from analysis of the psukim in the Torah. We had Rabbi Chia told us a law. One, he said that even though the pasuk was talking about the person confessing themselves, if we have the equivalent of a partial confession brought about by witnesses, the law is the same. And he proved it by the Kal V'chomer mechanism. Okay, what was that? So therefore, the guy says, you owe me 100. And the guy says, I owe you nothing. And witnesses say, no, we testified that you owe 50. We saw it. Okay, so then he also pays the 50 and swears that he doesn't owe the other 50, even though the scenario in the Chumash was with his confession, but he proved by Kal V'chomer. That was one din that we debated. A second law that Rabbi Chia said was that we have a question when a person admits, but he says halach. So if a guy says, you owe me 100, he says, oh, you're 50, and here it is, it's in your pocket. Wherever it is, it belongs to you. So we don't know how to judge that case. Do we continue looking at it as a partial confession? He admitted to 50 and he owes 50. Or do we say, since he didn't really admit to 50, but he, so to speak, immediately put it into the pocket of the plaintiff, well, then the whole case of 100 is gone, and it's a new case of 50. So now when he says, I don't know, he's not partially admitting and partially denying. He's completely denying the 50. So that was an argument. So Rabbi Chia said the rule of Halach is what? That you still have to swear. We don't look at it as a new case. You still have to swear as if it's partial. Rabbi Shesha said, no, it's a brand new case and you don't have to. Okay, those are the two laws. So we're now today mopping up. When I say mopping, we're going to come into the completion of our analysis of these two laws. Okay, so we're at the very top of Hey, Ahmed, Aleph. Okay, and we asked the following. You remember we learned this actually. We learned that we had this previously. We referred to. We had all kinds of places. We know we learned from klal uprat uklal. Remember the mechanism of a particular generalization, generalization. We learned that vows don't work. We don't make vows when land, for example, when land is in the mix of the case that we're going to make a vow on. Let's say for a partial admission and a partial denial, we don't make the vow. Okay, because that's how we learn it from the way the pasuk said. Land is out. So the Gemara says, and he has a very interesting proof. He says, listen, he says, Lumanda Amar Hela Pater, according to the opinion of Sheshes, who disagrees with Rabbi Chia, and who said that what? That when he says, I owe you 50 and here it is, so it's a new case, he's completely denying the other 50 and he doesn't swear. How can you say he doesn't swear if whenever he presents him with the property that he admitted to immediately, it's a new case, he don't swear? Why did I need a pasuk? We haven't done this, but it's happened before. We've seen it before. It's going to happen later. Here, this Masechta and other places. Lemuti Kaka V'Shua. Why do we have to have a special drasha of Klalu Prado Klau to tell me that when land is involved in perpetrating the vow that we don't make the vow? All called land. Remember, we always said by definition you can't really steal land. Land is always there. You can't take it away. You can't go throw it in the ocean. It's always there. So anytime you admit to land, the land is by definition in the possession of the plaintiff. So how can we learn? Okay, so how come? Why? If a person said, "Listen, I owe you part of the property, part not, whatever it is, why do you have to tell me what? You don't swear because it involves land. The reason you don't swear is because what? Because you already gave it to him. No, so it's not true what you're saying. It must be what? That when you say Helach, you have to swear. And the only reason here is because it's land and not because of Helach. It's a kasha to Rav Sheshes. Says Rav Sheshes, no, he says it's quite possible that even when we admit to land, it's still not called Halach. It's not called I paid you. Why? Let's say the guy who had taken the property, okay, and that he's admitting to, and he said he admitted to the land. So he said, listen, but he dug holes and ditches and caves in it, so he can't give him back that piece of land. It's damaged. He has to give him a different piece of land. So now, even though he admitted to this property, but the property they admitted to because it's damaged, he can't. That's not the one he returned. So it's not automatically halach. So it doesn't prove your point. It could be really what? In the case of halach, you don't swear, but there it's land, and you would swear except for the fact that it's land. Or alternatively, another case. Let's say the guy said, you owe me tools and land. The hodu b'kelim, he admitted to the tools, and the tools are not extant; they're not there, so it's not halach. We're covered by karkos, and he denied the land. So remember, since he didn't admit to the land, it's not a case of halach. And also, there you have to let me know that only because it's land that you don't have to swear. So we didn't really knock off Rav Sheshes. Tashma, again, we're going to ask the Kash Rav Sheshes. How can you tell me that when it's a case of halach, it's a new case and he doesn't have to swear? The Tani Rabbi Bar Chama, we learned. Now, this I really got to take a minute because we have to understand. The very source where we learn the rule of admitting to part and denying part, that you pay the part you admit to and you swear on the part that you deny, it's written right in the Pasha of Shomim, of the 4 watchmen. You know, what's the rule of the watchman? There are different watchmen. We'll call right now 3 levels of obligation. You can have a free watchman, okay, who's obligated only for what? For negligence. You can have, we're going to say it the simple way, a paid watchman and a renter, okay? In other words, a guy who is paid to watch or a guy who pays to use it, they're obligated what? They're obligated, obviously, for negligence, but even for what? Even for theft and for loss, even though it's not negligence, they should have done a better watching to guard against theft or loss. Okay, but they're not obligated on accidents. But a person who borrows is in the place of the owner, and even accidents, a person who borrows has to pay for if it's an accident. But the one thing even a borrower is exempt for is any that what's called misa machmas malachi. He borrowed a cow to plow it, but the cow dies in the process of plowing. He's not obligated. If you use the thing that you borrowed and its normal use, you don't have to pay. So each of the three watchmen has a place where they don't have to pay. Okay, the unpaid watchman where he says I wasn't negligent. The renter or the paid watchman says, listen, it was an accident. It wasn't me. Or even a borrower could be exempted. He says, listen, it died in the course of its work. So now what happens? So we know that those people, when they are going to exempt themselves from paying, they have to swear. They have to swear that it was really the case that they said. They have to swear that the thing was destroyed in the way that they're not obligated. They have to swear that they never misappropriated, they never stole it, because once they stole it, then they're obligated for all damages. It's their thing. They're a thief. They're obligated for everything. And they have to say also once that I don't have it. Okay, I didn't misappropriate. I didn't steal it. I don't have it. So now, but right in the middle of that, it's where it says it's this part yes and this part no. So we have an argument about that law. Is that law a prerequisite for the vow of all watchmen? And that in addition to a case of a person saying, listen, I don't have to pay because according to the laws of my watchmanship, I'm exempt. But in addition, it has to be a case where he also was partially admitted and partially denied. And that's really a prerequisite in order to have the vow of a watchman. Or no, we call it Erev. That's really, even though it's written by watchmen, it's really a law in loans, the way we always said it before, yomi 100, now 50, etc. So this opinion holds, and we're not worried about what the final law is, but we're going to show you from the way that we discuss this law that Rav Sheshes is wrong, and that even in case of halach, you have to swear on. Okay, that's the main point. Let's see how we see it. Tashma, because we learned the Tani Rami Bar Chama, he taught Arba Shomin, the four watchmen, okay, who have three levels of obligation. Even to make the vow that a watchman has to make, it still has to be a case of partial admission and partial denial. Now, and it finishes, and it says, those are the four watchmen who have three levels of obligation. That's the unpaid watchman, a borrower, a renter, and I meant to say a paid watchman, a renter, and a borrower. Now, so we have to say, what's the case? What's the case where, in addition to saying, listen, I don't owe you that because I wasn't obligated under my watchmanship to take care of it. Okay, it also has to have an admission and a denial. So he says, Kagon has to be like this. That has to be like the case. He has to say, look, the guy says, look, I gave you 3 cows to one. He says, listen, 1 cow I never got. That's number one. I never, or I got it and I paid you back, like you said yesterday. 1 cow I got, 1 cow I never got. I deny completely 1 cow. The second cow, he says, that's right. He says, and the second cow, I owe you. I have it. I have to pay you. And the third cow, he says, you know what? It was damaged in a way that I'm not obligated. If he was a free watchman, he says, it was damaged in a way that I wasn't negligent. It was a paid watchman, he says, it was damaged by accident. If he's a borrower, he says, it died in the course of its duty. But you see that what? So one of the cows has to be what? So in order to have a claim and a denial, one of them has to be his denial of obligation as a watchman is not a good partial denial. Partial denial says, stick one of those cows there. I don't know what to do at all. I never got it, or I got it and I paid you. But you see, and one of the cows, he says, look, I have it. And what do you mean? I have it, and here it is. So you see that what? Even though he has it, and there it is, it's still called a partial denial, because we said in order to have the vow of a shomer, in addition to him saying one part, I don't have to pay because I wasn't obligated as a watchman, one and a half has to be, I don't owe you. And so you see what? And one part I do owe you has to be the cows in his possession. It's Pelech, and he still swears. Gemara says no. So Gemara says, "Hey chidami." So let me spell that out. Lav Damar isn't where he said to him, "Hey, he said here's your cow," like I said to you. Gemara says, "Lo, that's not the case at all. Not the way he said it, but rather this." The Damar it's where he said to him, "Shalosh paras masati lecha." I gave you 3 cows to watch. Mesu kula b'pshia, and he says they all died. You were negligent. He said, and if we have to pay me 3 cows. The watchman says to him, no. One of them I never got. He completely denies it. One cow I never got. There was 2 cows, not 3 cows. Mechado mesa bonus. One died by accident. So as a watchman, I wasn't obligated. Let's say he's a paid watchman. Okay. Mechado mesa b'pshia. And I admit, one of them died by negligence. The ba'ina l'shamuim have to pay, but it's not there. So you see, the one he admits to is not a halach. It's not, and here it is, because he said it died. It's not there. The lo halach, it's not halach, and therefore you can't prove your case against Rosh Hashanah. Okay, good. Let me see another point. Okay, he says we want to now ask a kasha back to the first din of Rabbi Chia. What was the first din of Rabbi Chia? Rabbi Chia said that not only when a person confesses partially and admits partially does he have to swear on the part that he denies, even when witnesses make the same scenario. In a case where he denies everything, the witnesses testify that he owes half. That he also has to swear on the other half, even though he didn't confess the half. Toshma, Shekasha. So Rabbi Chia says, "Well, I got a brisa against you." The Tani Abu, the Rabbi Aftariki, the father of Aftariki, says to him, "Rabbi Chia Kamaisa, according to the full Rabbi Chia, the first rule of Rabbi Chia that I just described to you, the brisa says, listen, it's explicitly against Rabbi Chia. Says this guy says, you owe me 100. He says, nope, I don't owe you anything. I owe you nothing. Also, and then witnesses say, nah. You should be able to say, listen, you don't owe him 100, you owe him 50. We saw. You owe him 50. Yochol yishava al ashar. So you might think that he has to swear on the rest, which is what Rabbi Chia said. It says Talmud Lomer, since the pasuk says Al kol aveda asher yomar, on any aveda where he says, where the defendant says Kiyuzeh, this is it. Okay, okay. So it has to be where he says it. Al dos pivata machayvam. Only when he confesses do you make the vow of a partial admission. But you don't make him make the vow of partial admission when witnesses made him partially obligated. So, okay, so therefore what? So I see clearly I have a brisa that's against Rabbi Chia. Now the Gemara says something amazing. It says, Mastisa Karamas. What are you asking a kasha from a brisa on Rabbi Chia? What's the kasha? He says, Rabbi Chia Tanu. It's true that Rabbi Chia, it's not written down in the Mishnayos and the brisas. It's true, but he was early enough. He's considered a Tana. He's a Tana. He has the same stature as a Tana. Right around that time of Rebbe, etc. They were Tanaim. He said he made it. So what? He didn't get honorable. He didn't get mentioned in the Mishnah. He's a Tana. He has a right to disagree. He's not an Amori. He's a Tana. Okay. We must have 1 second. Nice point, but no work there. You don't win. Why? Because look, okay, it's true. I'll tell you what. Because as a brisa, okay, I can't pull rank on Rabbi Chia from a brisa. I agree, but I can pull rank on him from God. He says, well, Krokamar, didn't the brisa quote a pasuk? The brisa learned it from a verse. Okay. So how you can't fight with God? Okay, if you're a Tana, you can argue with a Tana. You can't argue with God. That's not going to work. How's that going to happen? And obviously the brisa, and I told you simply the brisa says what? Since the case was a case where he confessed it, it says he said, this is what I owe you, nothing else. So when do you swear on a partial admission? When he said it. But if somebody else said it, namely the witnesses, he doesn't swear. Not bad learning, okay? So he says, no, he says, nice try, but that you can't knock him out. He says, Ahu lemodemik sataina. I'm sorry. When it says that, and I want to explain what this means simply. Here, you're right. Remember I told you that to make an issue, it has to be an issue. When I was much younger than now, so the Rosh Yeshiva, the Mir Yeshiva was always a very famous yeshiva. Not where I studied, but it was always very famous in the world. And deserved to be famous. So when I was younger, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir Yeshiva was Rav Chaim Shmulevitz. He was the famous Rosh Yeshiva of Mir. His son, who was an up-and-coming Rosh Yeshiva, was probably my age, when I was much younger. And he came to visit some friends of mine in the place where I lived and where I learned. So he came to visit. They wanted me to meet him. I met him. He's a very, very beautiful guy. I was very happy. So as we were walking together, and Jerusalem, all kinds of little alleyways and highways and byways, we came to a narrow entranceway, into a little, building. So I stopped, and out of respect, I stopped to let him walk in. So he looked at me. He said, it wasn't an issue, he says. But now that you made it an issue, he says, you go first. He says, it wasn't a problem. You made a problem, so you go first. Don't make me go first. Okay, so the issue is like this. Even when we read a text, you can't sit down and make inferences. I always tell you this. Yeah, so it's true. It said, he said this and no more. Let's say we read the pasuk that way. That's the source of admitting to part and denying part. But now you say, well, it's just, he said, him. Slow down. I have to speak. Not everything's a code word. He said, somebody, I have to write something for crying out. I'm not going to tell you the case. You can't say, oh, that stands out. That doesn't stand out. It's not extra. So Rabbi Chia will say, listen, slow down. There's nothing remarkable about this verse. It said he said this. That's the case. He said, no, him and not listen. Get out of here. It just said him because that's the case. He said, and by like we learned the other day with my mechanism of Kal v'chomer, I derived the parallel law. You can't. I don't have to say every word's explosive. You can't read otherwise. I told you you cannot read. I did this to you. I'm going to do it now because I'm not late. Listen to this. Don't get scared. I'm not that excited. Don't get scared. Listen to this. I'm going to write you a medrash. Listen to this. There's no such medrash. You'll see in a minute. I'm going to write you a medrash right now. Get ready. Listen to this. It's a beautiful medrash. There's no such medrash. I'm going to write you one. Oh, Rav Ploni says Rabbi X. He says Rabbi X. Ein lo lakodesh baruch hu b'olamo ela oshamayim. There's nothing in God's universe. Nothing exists except for heaven and earth. Shenemar, as it says in the verse, Bereshis bara Elokim shamayim v'aretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Shamayim v'aretz, in heaven and earth, yes. Davar acher, something else. No. So you see, there's nothing else but heaven and earth. Amar Moni Lochein, says Rabbi Y, says, nah, you're not. It's not true what you said. Yesh lo lakodesh baruch hu b'olamo lo shamayim v'lo aretz. God does have indeed in His world that which is neither heaven or earth. Shenemar, as it says, Bereshis bara Elokim Bereshis bara Elokim eser shamayim v'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Bereshis, in the beginning, God has only, in the beginning, God has only heaven or earth. After the beginning, see that in this world, that was neither heaven or earth. Amar Vori, says Rabbi, it's not so.
My name is Julia. Yes, sir, but I have paperwork.
In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. But in the created universe, there's only heaven or earth. In the uncreated universe, it's even not heaven and not earth. What am I teasing about? You could do this game forever. You can't make an issue. Normal word. Can do it. The Medrash can do it. Darshan that way. With the Medrash, you can do that. With other places, which we'll learn the rules of Medrash one day. What's our special class of Medrash? Well, they're different rules. But simply you don't do it. So here, what's the Gemara say for Rabbi Chia? What does the Gemara say for Rabbi Chia? The Gemara say, listen, the pasuk had to say something. So it said, he said, and then it didn't preclude witnesses. I use the Kal v'chomer to prove witnesses. You can maybe yes, maybe no. There's no problem. He says, if you want to make an issue the way you do, you have to have an extra word. Okay, end of lecture. You want to make an issue, you have to have an extra word. So look what the Gemara says. Yep.
Can someone please mute themselves? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So you see that what? That was almost a comedy routine. Okay, anyway, so here, so you can't yell at me. So what's the father of Rav Potruki? We're going to say he felt that he did have a kasha then. He says, I'll tell you why, because I do have extra words. There is an extra word. It is remarkable. And that's how I know, because there's extra words to limit it to the case of a confession and to exclude a case of witnesses. Ksiv hu, ksiv zeh. When it says ki hu zeh, this is it, this and only this. So if let's say only this, I say ki zeh, no, I owe you nothing but this. Or ki hu, I owe you nothing but this. Who or zeh? They're both words for this. Who, this. Well, why do you say, I only owe you ki hu zeh zeh? I owe this? That's extra. Why did you say this twice? So the answer is what? So he says, chad lemod mixas satayna. You're right. One, this is to teach me in the simple case of admitting to part and denying part. But what? Okay, and what? And he says what? The chad. He says, but since the second word is extra, one of them is there. The second word is that. The second word is extra. That's to teach me what to depart, to exclude only by confession and not by witnesses. So if that's true, now it is extra. What's Rabbi Chia going to say? He says chad lemoda mixas satayna, the chad. He says, you're making a mistake. He says, one is, he says, I agree that there are two things to be learned, but not like you. One, to teach me the simple case of a partial admission. And what's the remarkable one? To teach me a very special halacha that the admission has to be of the type of the claim. We're going to talk about this later. But for this rule of partial admission, if you say to me, you owe me 100 units of wheat, and I say, no, I owe you 50 units of barley. So you see what? Since the admission is not of the same type as the claim, that's not called a partial admission. So he says the remarkable word is to preclude a case where even though he admitted the part, but didn't admit to the part that he was claimed against, is also not in the law. I see. He says therefore, but there's no extra word to preclude witnesses. So then what is the father of Patrick going to say? He says, Leslie. He says, yeah, well, because he holds that there's no such principle, then you have to admit in the same species as the claim. It's not, I don't think it's because of Zanu. I think we're going to see, and it's a whole other argument. But I don't think so over here. No, it could be. It could be, but over here it doesn't tell us that. It's a good point. Okay. But and he holds like Rabbi Gamliel, where we learn Tano Chitin, Behodula, Basar and Potter. It could be, yes, but okay, because he holds what? Because since we learn what, that if he claims wheat and the guy admits to barley, he's the example. Gamliel says you're obligated, so therefore what? He doesn't learn that case, and therefore he has an expert to teach me what? To preclude witnesses. Okay, now we're getting very interesting. Ahuraya, there was once a certain shepherd. A lot of places, the whole town would give their sheep to the shepherd to watch. You go to work, you drop your kids off at the kindergarten, you drop the sheep off at the shepherd. Okay, the Havimasule call Yoma every day the people in the town used to drop the sheep off, but they always had witnesses to testify what they gave to the shepherd. One day they gave it to him without any witnesses. Now they have no proof. So from Malu, in the end, he says, "What, Lord? It never happened. Tuesday you never gave anything. They have no witnesses. You never gave anything on Tuesday." And then after he lied, he said, "You never gave anything." Two witnesses come and say, "What do you mean? We saw him eat two of the sheep from the town. We saw him shecht them. He ate him. He's a liar." So now what do we do? For sure we know what that he took, that at least their claim of 100, at least two, he took. Rav Zera, he says, if we believe the first rule of Rabbi Chia, that even witnesses can force the rule of partial claim, if we hold that, Mishtaba Ashara, he's going to swear about the rest. He has to swear about the other 98, because Rav Chia said what? That witnesses forcing an admission of part is the equivalent of his own admission of part.
I really haven't tried. Because if somebody's going to be a thief or whatever else, what difference does it make that there's a false evidence?
So you'll just stay tuned. It's coming up right from the Gemara. You could have written it. That's you're going to see it in a minute. You could have written today's Gemara. That's all. We're going to be talking about it at length in just 2 minutes. Okay, exactly the point. So Abaye said to him, he says, "What do you mean exactly? Take a look. It's going to be exactly what you want." Abaye says, "What are you talking about? Exactly here. This is your point. Even if it's true that the halacha follows Rabbi Chia and that witnesses can make the rule of a partial admission, but over here, what do you mean if the rule follows him? This guy's a thief. He's a liar." He says, "Amar le Abaya im ita mishtaba." What do you mean if that's the rule he swears? Well, Gosling, he's a thief. How are you going to believe him? The guy's a thief. You can't believe us. You can't let a thief. You can't let a liar swear. We don't trust him. We have two witnesses that he checked the two of the sheep. We don't trust the guy when we catch a guy to lie. We don't trust him. He can't be a witness. He's over. We don't trust the guy. That's why you don't want to get caught in money. You can never. You get stuck for the rest of your life. It's very hard to change your status. Oh, so it's coming up. Also coming up in a minute. But remember, we said the other day, because he's not really a liar. He's a rationalizer. Okay, those guys we can straighten out. You're going to see it's coming up in a minute. As long as we figure a guy's a rationalizer, we'll let him swear because we'll straighten him out. But other people not. Okay, so I'm gonna live. But this is the case. We have him dead to rights. He ate two of the sheep. He had his own. He shafted his own. Okay, so you're going to see it. We stay tuned. It's all coming up 1 minute. We obviously we're going to have gradations of when we consider a guy. What's the word? A non-redeemable, unrecalcitrant, whatever the word is. He's non-redeemable, and some guys are redeemable. Let's see. You'll see. He said to him. He said, "You're right." He says, the guy can't swear, but I meant because we have a rabbinic rule. The rabbis instituted 2 vows that we haven't learned about yet. One is in the Torah, vows are for a person to not have to pay. You don't swear and collect. You swear in order to defend yourself that you don't have to pay. But the rabbis instituted two different vows where a person swears and collects. What are they? One, where the defendant really is obligated to swear to defend himself, but he's not believed. So the rabbi said, whenever the defendant's not believed, even though the Torah doesn't provide for a vow to collect, we have the plaintiff swear and collect. That's one. So he said over here, that's one. There's a second one called the Shavuos Hesses. Even you can do it from the Torah. If a person denies everything, then not we can do. We got no proof. We don't have to swear. But the rabbi said Hesses. What's Hesses? Pressure. Hesses is to squeeze a guy, to incite him, to pressure him. Sometimes we'll say, listen, if a guy denies everything, we institute a rabbinic vow that he has to swear, even though from the Torah he's exempt because he denied everything. We institute a rabbinic vow. Now let's take a look. So he said, first of all, when I said that if the law follows Rabbi Chia, the shepherd has to swear. Yes, he has to swear. When I meant to say he has to swear, but he can't. And therefore what? Therefore the townspeople are malaces. Therefore I meant the townspeople swear. But it's the same point. But that's only if the law is like Rabbi Chia. So then the shepherd was obligated to swear, but can't because he's not trusted. And therefore the townspeople swear. That's all I meant. Both, I don't think so, but let's see. I'm not sure. I'm not going to do my fingertips. Let's see. Let's hold on. Now, I said, one second. He says, why only if the law he says, it's like Rabbi Chia, does it have to be a vow? Even if the law wasn't like Rabbi Chia. Let's say that when witnesses make the partial confession for him, he doesn't have to swear. We should still have the townspeople swear. Why? Because there's a second rabbinic vow that the shepherd would have been obligated that he can't take, which should allow the townspeople to swear. Why? We have the famous rule of Rav Nachman, the Tanan. We learn. A guy says you owe me 100. And the guy says I owe you nothing. I have nothing. Potter, he's exempt from a vow from the Torah. Rav Nachman said rabbinically, we make him take a vow of incitement, a vow of pressure. Why? We say you swear that you don't know because we're hoping that he'll be afraid and he will back off. Okay, but since even without Rabbi Chia, according to Rav Nachman's rule, the shepherd would be obligated to swear, even though he denied everything, even if the law is not like Rabbi Chia, and he'd be obligated rabbinically to swear. And since he can't, so then the townspeople should swear. The said, no, you made a big mistake. Rav Nachman takvantehi. The vow of Rav Nachman, if the shepherd denied everything and we don't have the rule of Rav Chia, the obligation of the shepherd to swear is what is only rabbinic. It's a rabbinic enactment. But takonata, law of Dina, we don't make an enactment or an enactment. When a person is obligated to swear and can't, that we make the plaintiff swear, that's rabbinic. But if the original vow of the defendant is only rabbinic, I'm not going to make a rabbinic on a rabbinic. I don't do two things. So therefore what? So therefore it's only if the law was like Rabbi Chia, then the townspeople should swear. Good. Okay, we learned a lot. This stuff is going to come up a lot over and over again. Now the Gemara's come over. So 1 second. He says, 1 second. He says, how come you, Abaya, said that the shepherd can't swear because he was found to be a thief by the witnesses who saw him, eat the two sheep? He couldn't swear anyway, even if there were no witness against him. Why? We learned this before. Didn't we learn? Remember we learned this? But typically, everything wrong. What do you mean he can't swear? Because he's a shepherd. Remember we learned shepherds, your average shepherd is a thief because they let the animals go in other people's fields. They told you, Moshe Rabbeinu, why was Moshe out in the wilderness with his sheep? What do you want out in the wilderness? Because he was careful not to bring the sheep in the settled area. He didn't want to cheat. So over here, he says the guy's a shepherd. I don't have to have witnesses against him that he stole sheep. He's a thief anyway because he's a shepherd. He says anyway. Who needs that whole rule? Rabbi Yehuda, they said, why? He said, Rabbi Yehuda taught us, Stam Roa, apostle. Any normal shepherd is disqualified as witness because he's a thief, because he grazes in other people's fields. I said, look, Kash, you made a big mistake over that. He says, hold on, there's a big difference. When do we say that the normal shepherd is a thief? When he's shepherding his own sheep. When he's in business for himself, he benefits by letting the sheep go on other people's field. But when he has other people's sheep, we don't say it. Okay, we don't say it. Why is that? Because he's not going to steal for no benefit. And there's a rule yet. What is that? Because this is a rule. People don't sin without getting benefit. I'm not going to go be a thief for your sheep. It's ridiculous. For my own sheep, I'll do it. So therefore, what? So who do we assume is a thief? A guy who's shepherding his own sheep. That's different. When he's shepherding other people's sheep, he's not going to go be a thief. To help the. Okay, so then we'll have to debate, because what's the rule? We have to determine if he gets benefit. But this, I want to tell you something. And if you have to do counseling, you'll see. If a guy's doing sins and he's not having a good time, he is really an idiot. He's an idiot. That's stupid. If you're gonna sin, you should be having a good time. When I meet I'm telling you, I meet people. Oh, they're miserable. Stop it then. Why are you doing a Averis for? If you're doing a Averis, having a good time, okay, I understand. You shouldn't do a Averis, but I get it. But you're nuts. That's insane. You're gonna do an Averis and not have a good time. You're nuts. You're nuts. You're nuts. And then, that's insane. That's why I told you, people make a mistake. It says you have to love your fellow Jew like yourself. So they all talk about what? Oh, so they want to talk about, and then we'll talk about sinas chinam. They make such a big mistake here in America. What's sinas chinam? It's hating a person for no reason. Are you nuts? Nobody who hates somebody for no reason. You'd be insane. That's stupid. You don't hate people for no reason. I hate people because I have good reasons why. They get on my nerves. People do things you don't like. You have to be an insane person to hate a person for no reason. You're a maniac. We don't hate people for no reason. We have very good reasons. They talk funny. They bother us. They do all kinds of things. And the mitzvah to love other Jews isn't when they behave the way you want. The whole mitzvah is because they get on your nerves. You understand what I'm talking? That's why God gave you mitzvah. No mitzvah to love Jews they like. I love you back. Thank you. Thank you. That's the truth. You don't have to love that. What's the mitzvah for? What's the mitzvah for? Oh, because you don't like what I'm doing. What's the mitzvah for? The mitzvah is, but that's exactly the point. Because somebody, and I want to tell you something. You think other people getting yours? You get in somebody's nerves. You don't know it. There's somebody can't stand you. Whoever you are, somebody can't stand you. I'm telling you. Why? Because God made it that way. Because God made many different types of people. And because there's so many types, there's always going to be somebody who can't stand you. So what Hashem do? Instead of making everybody the same and having a big, horrible, boring world, it would have been what a horrible world. Everybody was you. Everybody was me. What a horrible world. So Hashem made a beautiful world with all different people with different sense of humor and different things, etc. And he said, you have to have them all. They said, now love each other. I don't care. That's right. Some people are going to get in your nerves. Yeah, that's right. But the real problem is that because they don't know how to do it. We have to talk. They don't know how to do it. Okay, but anyway, that's the point. So over here, what I'm trying to do, so we don't hate people for no reason. That's insanity. The answer, sinas chinam, is when just to finish my point. Sinas chinam is not when you hate a person. A person hates a person for no reason is insane. Send them for therapy. He's in his counseling. We hate people because they do bad things to us, but they're not things that the Torah allows you to hate them for. That's sinas chinam. Sinas chinam means if God didn't say hate him, you're not allowed to hate him. Yeah, I have good reason to hate him. God drives me nuts. But I'll write an article. I'm serious, but I'm telling you the truth. Thank you. Yeah, but I have good reason to hate him. But if God didn't say hate him, that's called sinas chinam. If God didn't say this is the law, if the law of the Torah is not to hate him, that's sinas chinam. That's the mistake they make. Of course, I have good reason to hate him. What am I stupid? Nobody sins for no reason. I have a good reason to hate the guy. Okay, good. Just for the record. Okay, now back to the ranch. The lotema hachi. Okay, so now I'll show you that what I'm saying is true. There's a difference between his own sheep and other people's sheep. He says, "Anan chaybasa l'roy echad batrina." We in our lifetimes, we all give sheep to the shepherd. How do we give sheep to the shepherd? You're not allowed to make a stumbling block before the blind. If shepherds will steal for the owner, for the other sheep, then I'm not allowed to give them. Then nobody's allowed to give sheep to a shepherd. The rule is what I just told you. What the status quo is: people don't sin for no reason. If he's not getting money, in which case you're right. If he's going to benefit, then you're right. Then you have to worry that he's going to steal. That's always the problem. Whenever you think, and that's why I told you that's why I have to worry about these workers and a lot of the businesses, because they're not representing the business. They're representing themselves. And they're stealing. A lot of these guys are stealing. Yeah, you have to watch out. Whenever the guy can benefit, there's a chance he's stealing. You understand? If the guy can benefit, there's a good chance that he's stealing. Okay. Now, Rabbi said, I'm going to go fairly quickly, but this is a beautiful point. We want to examine, now we're back to the range of the Mishnah. We finished what was really a tangential discussion because we used the Mishnah as a proof. Now we're back to the range. What was the final rule of the Mishnah? These guys are both holding on to the talus. They both claim it's theirs. Each one swears that he doesn't own less than half, okay? And they split it. Let me ask you a question. Please, because it's going to pass us by if I don't do it right. If I swear that I don't own if I swear that I don't own less than half. So I know the first thing, well, I don't own less than half, but half I own, right? But think about it for a second. If I say, I don't own less than half, what's less than half? 49%, 47, 3%, even less than half I don't own. So I could be a Russia and swear, here, I stole this talus. And I swear, I don't own less than half. I don't own anything. So when I say I swear I don't own less than half. You could be hearing what? I own half. Or you could be hearing, look, I own nothing. I swear I don't own less than half. I'm really swearing what I don't, because I don't own anything. I'm swearing truthfully. I'm a liar who's swearing truthfully. So why did the Mishnah make such an ambiguous formula? Now, so we're going to see it. It's coming up. It's coming up in the Gemara now. But the Maisa, it's equivalent to both of them. It's coming up. It's coming. They're both going to the whole top. It's going to come up. But they're both over. So, but how can he swear this way? His vow is he can be a liar. So he goes, I swear I don't know less than half. I swear I don't own anything. That's what he's saying. He could be saying that. No. Yeah, no, that's my point. He can truthfully swear that he doesn't own less than half. And we're trying to catch the guy in a lie. We're not going to catch him. He's going to lie successfully. So the Gemara says the Gemara says you're right. He's some Rav Huna. He says that's not how we do it. He has to say the following words: Shvua sheyesh li ba. I swear that I own part of it. I don't own less than half. He can't say that. He has to say the whole formula. Says the Gemara. Okay, so what? The name of Shvua kula sheli. Let him swear. What was his claim? I own everything. Let him swear that he owns everything. Well, listen, do we give him everything? That's going to be a joke in the basement. He's going to say he owns everything, and then he's going to swear he owns everything. And then we're going to give him half like a joke. Basement will be a joke. So let him swear. I own half. He says that's no good. Why? Marley the Hebrew, because then he contradicts himself. He said he owns everything. Now he swears he owns half. We can't let him do it. Says new hashtanami. So when he swears he doesn't own, I own, I don't say. He's still contradicting his original claim that I own everything. Okay, the answer is he says, like, watch, and this is the real formula. Dharma, here's what he has to say. Kula Shili says, Rabbi say, this whole thing belongs to me. But since you, the basin, are not going to accept my claim, according to you, you're not going to award me everything. Because you are not going to award me everything. I swear that I own part of it. And I don't own less than him. So they covered all the bases. That's the real true formula. Now you're going to see, really, this is going to be the dinam of this point. He says, since each one is really in possession, right? Each one is in possession of the talus. Why do they have to swear? Remember, what's the whole purpose of a vow from the Torah for me to hold on to what I have? I don't need, what do I need a vow for? Here, he's in possession. Why is he swearing? They both are in possession of the talus. We're giving them. Why does he have to swear? Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, you're right. Really, from the Torah, they don't have to swear. And we said this before. This is an enactment of the Rabbi. We don't want every single guy to start ripping off this to become a business. Since we know that if two people are in possession of a talus, they're going to get half. Every guy that sees his friend pick up a lost object will quickly run after the guy picked it up and grab a hold and say, "Look, I picked it up. I picked it up first," and he'll quickly get it. So we want to discourage thieves. Thieves will find a quick business. We want to discourage them. Now, one second. You tell me this guy's an out-and-out thief from Yochanan, and you want to make him swear? The name of Miga the Chashiv Amona Chashiv Namashuasa. Why don't you say if he's suspect on his money, he'll take God's name in vain. What good is it? He's a thief. Let's say if he steals money, he'll take God's name in vain. Now, we'll get ready now to the end for the next few minutes. We're going to debate. Do we say that a guy who will steal, by definition, will take God's name in vain or not? One opinion is no, and one opinion is yes. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, he says, why do we, if he's going to steal, he's going to take God's name in vain? So Gemara first answers, nah. We don't say that if a guy will steal, he'll take God's name in vain. People are much more afraid of taking God's name in vain than they are of stealing. Now let me prove to you that the same person who will still not take God's name in vain. Because didn't we learn here when the Torah said that we learned earlier, the person makes the partial claim and the partial denial has to swear. Here, since I'm in doubt about whether he really, I'm afraid he's really stealing the half that he denied, why am I going to let him swear? I said, nah, you can't compare, like we said before. Awesome over there, that's not a thief. That's it. He's a procrastinator. He's a rationalizer. He's just short on cash and he wants to pay. Maybe the whole psychology is there. So yeah, okay, can do it. The rabbi, like Rabbi said. So that's not a case of a guy that we're not really suspecting of being an out-and-out thief. We expect him, a person who's rationalizing, we'll straighten him out with a vow. But a real thief, no. And Teda, how do I know that a person, when it comes to loans, as opposed to an out-and-out thief, that a person who's suspect on a loan is not really suspect. When a person denies a loan, we don't really think of them as a thief. Because he said, take a look. If a guy denies a loan and now witnesses come and say what did he really owed it, kosher leidus, he remains kosher as a witness. What do you mean? We just showed he's a thief. Yes, we don't think he was a thief. He was a rationalizer. People are short on cash. They deny a loan not because they intend to steal the money, but because they want to pay later. So those guys, even a guy he was a liar. He's definitely a liar. But he's not considered a thief. Why not considered? Because we know he wanted to pay. He was trying to push up. People embarrassed. They have embarrassment, but people do all kinds of things for embarrassment. I don't know about you guys. I've done so many dumb things from being embarrassed. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life from being embarrassed. It happens. It's human nature. Okay. But listen to this. But when it's a deposit, when a guy has a deposit and he denies it, he can't. He's not looking for cash. He has it. He has it in his hand. If he denies it, then he's no good as a witness, right? Because he's a thief. Okay, so therefore you see that denying alone doesn't make a man a thief, so we don't have to answer that. It's again, we still want to prove that what we want to see is if a guy we suspect him of stealing, do we suspect him of taking a false vow? Also, and remember, we learned that whole rule of the four watchmen that we mentioned earlier, and we said that in addition to saying that they're not obligated under the laws of watchmanship, also trichim kfir b'miktzas v'odam miktzas, what we quoted before, that in addition they also have to partially admit and partially deny. These are the four types of watchmen: the unpaid watchmen, the borrower, the paid watchman, and the renter. All those people. Nema. Why don't we say over there? That we're afraid the person is denying falsely. Let's say since we're afraid that he is suspect on the money, he's suspect on the vow. Okay, so you see what must be watched. That we don't say that even when we suspect the person of stealing, we don't suspect him of swearing falsely. When he says, nah, he says, also over there, the person doesn't mean to really deny it and steal it. He said that he erred. For example, really what happened was the animal was stolen or lost. Okay, when he says, I don't have to pay it, he didn't mean to steal the animal, but rather what? Sober, he figures he's really obligated. He figures, Mishkach got him. But in the meantime, I'll deny it. I'll find the thief. I'll get the thing back. Inami or Mishkach, if the thing was lost, I'll find it in the pasture. I'll bring it back. So even there, we assume he's not an out-and-out thief. You have to catch a guy being an out-and-out thief to say what? To say that he's not. Yeah. So therefore what? So therefore we're still debating. We can't prove. We're trying to prove that a guy who's suspect of stealing is not suspect of swearing falsely. I must say 1 second. One second. If you're telling me that even when it came to a watchman, that when he denied the watched object, he really meant to get it back. Says, I come from my apostle. So how come earlier you told me that if a guy denies a deposit, that he's automatically disqualified from testimony? Also there, maybe he can't. He's trying to get it back. I said, no. You're right. I want to say he's just postponing. He's just trying to get away by time. I says, and he thought, until I'll go search for it, and I'll find it. So he says, you're right. He says, When I said that, it was under very specific circumstances. When I said if a guy denies a deposit, he's disqualified as a witness. That's where what? That's where witnesses came and they testified against him. And they said, we testify he had the object in his possession when he denied it. Then he's a thief. He's not a postponer. He's a thief. You know, because he has it. Okay, Inami, alternatively, we know that he had it in his hand. Okay, and he said, it's this thing is mine, not yours. And then we bring witnesses, no, it belongs to the plaintiff. So now there's no way he was pushing off. He had the object in his hand. Good. Elohadam Rafuna. Let me try again. Okay, he says, didn't we learn Mashpino so Shua Shana Bashuso? We said that when the watchman says, I'm not obligated for this thing because under the rules of my watchmanship, we make him swear that he doesn't have it in his possession. 1 second. He says, Nema, I'm sorry, pardon me. I said the wrong case. I'm sorry. If a watchman was supposed to swear, a watchman says, I'm exempt. He says, swear and I'll let you off. He says, listen, you know what? I'm very religious. I don't like taking God's name. I'll pay you. We're afraid this guy is a bum. He just wants to buy the object. He said, I'm very righteous. I don't want to swear. I'll pay you. What he really wants to do is he wants to buy the object against the guy's will. He's not religious. He wants to steal the objects. He says, I'll pay you. I'm not going to swear. So we make him swear that it's not in his possession. No, how could that be? If you tell me that any guy who steals, any guy who steals, that will swear falsely. Name immediately. Since we're afraid he's trying to steal the object, he's gonna swear falsely. So why don't I let him swear? The answer is no. Gemara says no. He says Hasam Nami. Also there, he's not an out thief. He's a rationalizer. He says, listen, I'm giving money. He's not a real thief. Even though he's wrong, he is a thief. But since he feels that he's giving money, he's okay. In his mind, he's really not a thief, and therefore, okay, that could be. All things could be. Later. We're going to talk about it. We got a lot of work to do. There's all kinds of rules when a person swears. According to whose mind does he swear? According to him, according to the base team. He really has to swear the way the base team told him. There's not all kinds of things going on in his head that he's treating. Okay, but we'll see. But here the point is what? Again, we're saying, I tried to show you that even the guy who would steal will not swear falsely. No, guy's not really a thief. He's really, even this guy's a rationalizer because he says, I'm paying for it. One more. Let's finish up. We have, no, you know what? Okay, we'll let it go. It's fine. We're almost at the end. Tomorrow we'll finish up the debate of if a person if we think a person is a thief, do we let him swear? We're going to have yes and no in a few minutes. I both say have a wonderful day. Yeah. Yeah, sure, I know him. I remember, he was. Yeah, I know. I was not in the. I thought I was in the Mir Yeshiva, but no, I never went to the Mir. I never. I said, all my friends. I've lots of friends. I never went to the Mir. I did.
My son went to the guys who live in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
What?
I'll go.
Yeah. My oldest son lived in me. He goes to my Yaakov Cal every year during Thanksgiving week.
Oh, where is that? Where in the Mir?
Come here.
Yeah.
He stays in a hotel that he.
Massive.